Did you know the admirable city of Venice, Italy is sinking? Images and videos appear to show the serene city flooding with water as it is built on many small islands. Why is Venice, Italy sinking? Well, Venice is one of the few cities affected by the rise in sea levels. The rise in sea levels is a result of human-caused global warming. The rising of sea levels is caused by warm waters where glaciers and ice begin to melt by thermal expansion. Volume of the ocean increases due to the change in temperature. How is this caused by humans? Although humans are not purposely warming the earth to cause these types of environmental issues, we are contributing by the use of emissions in factories, power plants, industries, and mainly cars, trucks, and buses. All gas emissions released by these sources are being trapped within our atmosphere, which begins to warm the earth. Therefore, thermal expansion is created as we observe the rise in sea levels. A rise in sea levels experiment. Use two bowls, one with hot water and the other with cold water. Add drops of red or orange food coloring in the bowl with hot water and blue food coloring in the bowl with cold water. Grab 2 cups filled with room temperature water and add ice cubes. Then observe how the hot water causes sea levels to warm underneath the sea level surface and melt the glaciers. The glaciers will be represented by the ice cubes and the water inside the cups is considered sea water. As for biodiversity, sea levels will damage ecosystems by soil contamination with salt when tidal ranges cause more floods. The saltwater intrusion could be deadly for native species in their ecosystems. As sea ice melts, polar bears are more at risk for extinction. The sea ice habitat is home to polar bears and will threaten polar bears' survival. Climate change is also a contribution to glacial melt, which then also causes the rise in sea levels. As mentioned before, Venice is already showing results of this environmental hazard. This is a global situation that everyone should be concerned about, but Venice has scored the second worst flooding in 2019. It is known that sea levels is an issue in this flooding event because the tide reached more than 6 feet, which was above average sea level. This drastic increase is striking and will continue to rise as temperatures continue to warm. Within the cities, businesses, shops, and local areas in the environment were affected, causing destruction to the unique and historic city. One of the main solutions that will completely change the course of the rise in sea levels is no more gas emissions. It is unrealistic to think, but it is possible if everyone on this earth was on the same page. As for solutions in Venice to combat the floods is to alter the city's structure to protect it from higher water levels to come, building things like dams, vessels to deepen underwater channels all to reduce floods, all in which include lots of money to build and time and years to construct. The Mosaic project is a solution that just might save Venice's lagoon from high tides and flooding. It is not yet operational, but it is known to combat these rising sea levels. Once sea levels in lagoons rise above 43 inches, barriers will be initiated to protect local cities such as Venice, Italy. This project will protect this famous city from being submerged and flooded with water that will destroy the Venetian lagoon. These flood barriers will soon be completed in late 2023. Until then, the human population needs to consider more solutions as this may only be a temporary solution. Sea levels will continue to rise and affect more lands across the globe. This environmental issue is important to what we should be focusing on today, along with its anthropogenic contributing factors. Another environmental hazard is El Niño, which Aurelie will go into depth about.
Ever heard about El Nino or La Nina before? It's known to be El Nino Southern Association, or also known as ENSO, which is a climatic phenomenon that occurs periodically within the tropical Pacific, which El Nino and La Nina are the warmness and the cold phases of it. Both occur every 2 to 7 years, which alternates the pattern of the climate. By this, I mean changes in the ocean's surface temperature, which have big disruptions to tropical wind and rainfall patterns. These modifications on our world have a set of negative side effects. Sounds a little bit confusing, right? Well, we all are known to have a Niño La Niña. These are the two different climate forms of patterns that break the forms of replacing the warm water and then the cold water rises from the bottom. This process is known to be upwelling, which is known to be trade winds that move along the equator, taking warm water from the South America and moving it towards Asia. El Nino affects weather that creates wildfires, which hurts our ecosystems and the overall economy. They typically go on from 9 to 12 months, but can literally last years. El Nino range range happens every 2 to 7 years, but due to this phenomenon, it could occur at any given time. Negative impacts that El Niño could cause. It's important to educate ourselves on what El Niño could cause. We must educate others and act upon it now since it's very dangerous and could harm us, since it does have changes within the sea level pressure across the tropical Pacific and Indonesia, and El Niño causes extreme rainfall over the central and eastern tropical Pacific Ocean. To mention, El Niño also causes winds and extreme rainfall, like dry conditions and overall just a crazy weather condition, which we would not want to have. It causes severe drought, flooding, rains, shortage within food, outbreaks within diseases, and rises in temperature. We must act upon it right now. Have you guys ever heard of the famous Galapagos Island? Galapagos Island is located in the Pacific Ocean of Ecuador. Galapagos Islands is a home to many dynamic species of the best preserved natural habitats. For this reason, the whole Galapagos food chain is influenced by El Niño's years, which currents decrease and the trade winds die down, and many of these famous species are at risk of catastrophic famine and are very close to extinction. For instance, to give you a closer look on how dangerous El Niño does affect our world, is the penguin population. Penguin population has drastically reduced during the last two most recent powerful Niño events, within the years of 1997 to 1998, going from 77% to 65%. Just to give you a closer look, like sea lion, penguin, marine iguanas, populations have gone to half since the last Niño. It's important that we must act upon this, as I stated before, and it's very, very dangerous. Just to give you a little more closer look, marine birds such as the blue-floated bobby, nobis, brown pelicans, and other species cannot feed their offspring. They have less resources and the number of eggs is reduced. For what reason? Because of El Niño. We can't do much to stop the overall coming of El Niño. However, there are ways to prevent this. We need to help one another. Helping one another during this event can benefit us in many ways. For one, by making preparations to help us withstand the impact of El Niño could help us. By preparing food staples which could prevent starving, government sending out warnings when El Niño could occur, farmers increasing stocks for their overall crop productions, using wetlands areas for optional planting areas for farmers, or even creating reservoirs and areas to deal when El Niño does come. It's important that we must help each other and come as a community to help stop or prevent El Niño effects.